Good morning, boys and girls. It is Saturday, May 1st. We have made it to another month, which means the first edition of May of Brewed Bets, where the coffee is strong and the bets are stronger. I'm your co-host, Sports with BJ, Brandon Johnson, and as always, I'm joined by JT of JTZ and Sports Shift Media. JT, how are we doing this morning?
I'm doing good. We can finally sleep, right? I'm pretty sure John Rothstein said that we sleep in May, so I'm good to go
That's it.
now.
Yeah, if the Rostameister said it, then it's got to be accurate, right?
Yep.
I love everything about that. So yeah, here we are, a new month. We don't have any Pale Horse coffee in yet. I think we're going to go get the Neptune blend today
All right,
and
cool.
get that shipped off to JTZ, and I'll be drinking it too. So looking forward to that. So this morning I'm drinking on some decaf because I need it. Any more caffeine and I might be through the roof. But I'm drinking a little bit of decaf Pete's coffee. My wife liked that and she got some of that, so I'm drinking that, and hopefully she doesn't kill me for taking her coffee. What do you got going on over there?
I've got some badass coffee from Florida, Destin, Florida. When I was down there for vacation, I picked some up. So still got a little bit of that left over. So that'll hold me over until the new shipment comes in.
I love it. And how are we taking it this morning? I'm straight black because I live dangerously, apparently.
I do a touch of caramel cream. I like a little bit of flavoring in mine, so not too much. It's still the dark color. It's not all cream.
So I went to my grandparents' house and they had hazelnut creamer, which I'm a French vanilla guy, but they did have a Folgers K-Cup of caramel drizzle flavored coffee. And it tasted like a handcrafted coffee drink, just a little caramel drizzle coffee from Folgers and a little bit of hazelnut creamer. And I felt like I was drinking something from Starbucks. It was pretty good.
Yeah, you every once in a while you find those K-Cups that they do the job.
Yeah, and you know what? Coffee is coffee when you need coffee, right?
Especially at this time.
Exactly. So it'll get the job done, and our job is to help make you some money. Last week we went 6-5. We reset the ticker on how we were accumulating, and we went 6-5. So another positive week, which is what we're trying to do. We're trying to get out of being in more losses in the loss column than wins in the win column, and so far we have done that. So let's get into it again with a 3-2-1. Brandon's 3-2-1 today. 3 good bets, 2 locks, and an upset. I'm going with Golden State Warriors versus the Houston Rockets over 233.5. I know that sounds like a lot, but I'm going to tell you why that's going to be pretty solid for you. I'm going to go with Yankees -1.5 versus Detroit. I'm going to go a little soccer in here. We got Man City playing Crystal Palace, and I'm going to go over 2.5 goals. I know that kind of bucks the trend a little bit, but I'm pretty safe in that one, in my opinion. My 2 locks today, Oakland -1.5 taking on the Baltimore Orioles, my Baltimore Orioles. And then the St. Louis Cardinals, I'm going to take them straight up money line versus the Pittsburgh Pirates. Sorry, JT. And then my upset today, I'm taking the Wizards over the Mavericks. And I am going to take the points, but I think they might pull it out outright. And I'll give you a little bit of tidbit on that. So, JT, what do you got today?
I like all those picks, to be honest. And then I've got 5 bets today, 4 regular bets, and then a parlay. So my bets are Cardinals Pirates under 7.5. So I like where you're at too. Pirates just are struggling, and with Flaherty on the mound, we'll get more into that. But I like your pick. Dodgers Brewers, big game there in the NL. I'm taking that under 7.5 as well. And then Tigers Yankees over 8.5. Those are my 3 baseball picks. And then jumping over to hockey, Penguins Capitals fighting for that first spot in the division. I'm going over 6.5. That's a good trend. I'll fill everybody in on that a little later. And then my money line parlay. I'm also diving into the soccer game. I don't watch much soccer, but Chelsea's got an American on the team. He kind of leads the way there. So I'm going Chelsea over Fulham, Yankees over Tigers, and then Padres. I have Padres money line written down, but I forget who they're playing. But that's the 3-game money line parlay, and it sits at plus 241. So pretty good odds on that.
I love that. Some another solid picks there. And just for everyone knows, I don't know that we've ever touched on this, but when we calculate our wins and losses, if we happen to go the same way on a bet, we don't count that as 2 losses or 2 wins because that's not fair. We are a unit here at Brewed Bets. So if at the unit both picks the same bet, that's just 1 bet for us. But if we like it, we really like it, right? So hint, hint. Can't tell you exactly what to do, but if the two people on the show both like the same odds, probably a good indicator that there's some positive outcomes there. All right, so let's get into breaking down the 3-2-1. JT, I've got some stuff here, and I know you're a stats guy. I know you're a data analytics guy, and I'm just going to throw some things out here that aren't necessarily analytics. They're just good stats that support. And the first one I'm going to throw out is Golden State Warriors versus the Houston Rockets. I took over 233.5. That's a lot of points. That is. But in back-to-back games this week, the Golden State Warriors gave up 133 points and 126 points, respectively. All right. And their defense is absolutely atrocious. That's nothing new for them, right? They allow a lot of points. And ironically, they score because I feel like they have to.
Yeah.
With all the points they're given.
Yeah, Curry's been having to go off just to keep them in games.
Yeah. And then Houston, just earlier this week, I believe it was Thursday night, gave up 136 to Milwaukee. So I'm liking both of those teams to give up points, and I think it's going to be one of the most entertaining basketball games of the weekend if you're an NBA fan, strictly because there's not going to be any defense. And we all love seeing scoring, right? Which is weird coming from a UVA fan, but I love seeing scoring, so I'm going with that. Yankees -1.5 versus Detroit. This is actually a pretty simple one. The Detroit Tigers have the worst bullpen in baseball, period. End of discussion. There's no need to dive any deeper. I don't think the Yankees need the 1.5 late. I don't think they find it late. I think from the get, it's going to be bad. So I like that one. And then Man City versus Crystal Palace over 2.5 goals. They met earlier this year, and if I'm not mistaken, Man City won that game 4-1. Man City averages about 2.3, 2.2 goals a game, somewhere in there. And Crystal Palace is just not very good defensively. So I like Man City to take care of the 2.5, possibly on their own. But definitely getting 2. If Crystal Palace can help me out with another goal, that'd be great. But I think over 2.5 goals is a good bet. And I know in soccer, the trend is always you want to go under 3, right? It's very rare. You see a lot of 2-1 games, 1-1 draws, 1-0 games. But I'm going against the trend because that's just more fun, right? All right, the 2 locks today. As much as it hurts, I'm going to take the Oakland Athletics -1.5 versus my Baltimore Orioles, and pretty much for a similar reason that I took the Yankees. Baltimore can't pitch. They don't. I think that they've been in a lot of games this year, and I actually in the preseason, I think their over/under win total was 61.5, and I took the over. I think they're going to be in a lot of games offensively. But when it gets later in the game, when we get to the 6th, 7th, 8th inning, and you really need a reliever to come in and sustain that lead or keep you in it while your bats are cold, Baltimore, I don't feel has that. And for me, Oakland's got the offense to, I think, win this game by 2 or 3. So I'm going there. And my other lock, the St. Louis Cardinals over the Pittsburgh Pirates. I am taking the money line because I don't trust the Cardinals with the runs. They've burned me on that a couple times this year. And this one is very simple. It's 2 words. Trevor Cahill. He is on the mound and he gets shelled. He is not having a good year. I think last year he battled back and got his ERA under 4. But I think right now it's hovering around 11. If I'm not mistaken.
It was pretty bad. I know when I looked it up, it was up there.
I think he is fighting Madison Bumgarner for the highest ERA in baseball of a regular starter. I think
he got it down last game. It's down to 7.11. So
okay,
still up there.
I love that. So yeah, I'm locking St. Louis beating Pittsburgh. This is kind of a rivalry. I feel like in that division, they're in the same division, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it's not the Cubs and the Cardinals, which we always love to watch. I love that series. I love the Yankees, Red Sox, Yankees, Mets. And I think St. Louis and Pittsburgh is a very underrated rivalry in baseball. Yeah, they've had some good series.
Yeah, it definitely was. It got propped up a little bit when the Pirates finally got good and they had that 3-year playoff stretch. The only playoff series that they played in 2 wild card games and then 1 series. They played in against the Cardinals. I was actually there, and those 3 seasons there were a lot of good series, both 95+ win teams. So it's died down a little bit, but
Was that
Still good.
at the beginning of the Andrew McCutcheon era there?
Yeah, so I mean, McCutcheon was there. I mean, he got called up in 2011, I think. So that was 13 through 15. So that was right after he came up and started to become the star. His MVP season is right in the middle to 2014. So that's all those years when we had good players, and now we're trying to build back up.
I love it. All right, well, let's talk about an upset. Typically with my upsets, this is where you can find some very good value for your money. And this is another one. I think this is right around plus 175, I believe, right now. And that is the Washington Wizards getting 6 points taking on the Dallas Mavericks. Listen, if y'all are not watching the Wizards, you're missing some good basketball and you're missing something historic. Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook are about to become the first ever teammates to lead the NBA in assists and have an MVP. Bradley Beal's in an MVP or a scoring title. Bradley Beal's leading the NBA, averaging 31.6 points a game, and Russell Westbrook is averaging double-digit assists per game. So we're witnessing something where we have never had teammates that are the scoring title and the assist title in the same season. And it is fun to watch. They've got games where they've beat They just beat the Lakers earlier this week. They've beat the Bucks. They beat the Rockets. You name it, they've been in games or beat games with the top of the top. They beat the 76ers, and they just got done going on a streak where I believe they were like 9. They won 9 of 12, something like that, and worked their way back into playoff contention. Now, look, it's only for the 8th seed. I'm not going to say that they're some stud team, but they're clicking at the right time, and they're knocking people down to get up in front of them.
They're a team that no one wants to see. Those top seeds, they don't want to see them get in.
No, you don't want a 5-game series with the Washington Wizards right now. And Russell Westbrook, he's starting to be the assassin that we know he can be. There was a weirdness about him in the beginning of the year. I think a lot of transition, probably being with the Wizards and that organization and all that stuff. And DC is a transition, especially when you're coming from Oklahoma City. No defense to Oklahoma City, but Washington DC is a different animal, and all that stuff. But I like them to win this game, and if Dallas is going to give me 6 points to help do it, I'm going to take it. So that's my 3-2-1. Golden State Warriors and Houston Rockets over 233.5. Yankees minus 1.5 versus Detroit. Man City versus Crystal Palace over 2.5 goals. My 2 locks: Oakland minus 1.5 versus Baltimore. St. Louis's money line versus Pitt. And then my upset of the day is going to be the Wizards plus 6 over Dallas. And that's the 3-2-1. JT, I know you've got some good bets you want to talk about.
Yeah, we'll jump right into it. The Cardinals-Pirates game that you just talked about, Jack Flaherty's on the mound. He is scary good this year. 4-0, 27 strikeouts. His whip's under 1. Going up against a Pirates offense that just doesn't really score. The one thing here is I'm going under 7.5, and you talked about Trevor Cahill. He hasn't been very good, but the Cardinals lineup hasn't been that good either. They're averaging about 7 hits a game, which isn't a lot. It's kind of middle of the pack for Major League Baseball. And they had an outbreak last night. They scored a bunch of runs against the Pirates. So I don't see it happening 2 nights in a row. So I think I could see this being a 4-1, 5-1 ball game. Okay. Cardinals win, but I think it stays under 7.5. And then same sort of thing, Dodgers Brewers. Brandon Woodruff is on the mound, and this is just a Brandon Woodruff principal game for me. I bet all of his unders because he is the Brewers ace. Even though he's going up against the Dodgers, they've been kind of struggling putting up some runs too. They were held to 1 run or less, they've been held to 1 run in back-to-back games, and then he has not given up more than 1 run in each of his last 4 starts. So for that reason, and no Bellinger in the lineup, no Yelich in the lineup for the Brewers.
Right, I was just about to say, Christian Yelich is still on the IL there.
Yeah, so you've got 2 of the big hitters out of the lineup. I like this game staying under 7 and being a pitcher's duel. Dustin May, he's nothing to shy at either. Even though he's the 4th or 5th starter on that team, he would be a 2nd or 3rd starter on most teams if they didn't have Trevor Bauer, Walker Buehler, and Clayton Kershaw. So my next one is Tigers-Yankees over 8.5. This one, I wouldn't be surprised if the Yankees just put this up by themselves again. They put up 10 last night, but I think the Tigers are going to be able to score a few. Tyon has struggled. He's still coming off that injury, trying to figure everything out in New York, being his first season. So I think that the Yankees probably get at least 6 or 7 here. So then I just need him to give up a few runs. And that Tigers offense is bad, but I think they can at least get 2 here to help me go over. So those are my 3 baseball picks. And then hockey, I'm going Penguins Capitals over 6.5. This has been a great series between 2 great teams all year long. And the over 6.5 has gone 5-2 this year. Between these teams. So I think they continue that trend. I think this is a 4-3 game at least. They just played, what day was that? It was 2 days ago. My days are all messed up. But so I think they played Wednesday or Thursday, and it was 5-4. So it easily went over. So I'll take that over. And then my parlay of the day, Chelsea taking on Fulham. We're getting into the soccer game.
Yes, we are.
Fulham is about to be relegated. Chelsea has a big game on Wednesday against Real Madrid. So I consider taking the spread, taking them -1.5 to get better odds. But I don't know how many of the big names are going to be playing in this game since they have the big game on Wednesday. So just take them money line. And then I already talked about the Yankees and the Tigers. I think Yankees win that one easily. And then I still did not, when you were talking, I did not pull up who the Padres are playing. Padres taking on the Giants.
There it is.
And it's Giants are a good team this year. They're going to compete in that NL West. But Blake Snell's on the mound, and it's just a Blake Snell principle, take the money line. And you get plus 241 odds for that. So 3 pretty heavy favorites, and you're getting plus money. One last thing I want to sprinkle in. I didn't want to include this in my bets, but for anybody that loves horse racing, the Kentucky Derby, it's a big game day. So wanted to give a shout out. I am throwing some money on Highly Motivated. He's 10-1. One of the favorites, Known Agenda, he got stuck on the first post. He's still 6-1 odds, but I just don't see him winning, being on the first post. It's tough to win from there. Essential Quality is a favorite at 2-1, and then Rock Your World rounds out the top 3 at 5-1. But Highly Motivated, he hasn't finished outside the top 3 in his last 5 races, and he won 2 of those.
Oh, wow.
So I like him with 10-1 odds. I think that's a pretty good shot. If you want to throw some money on him to finish top 3 too, I wouldn't hate that either.
Yeah, the Derby is always fun. It's one of my wife's favorite sporting events. She doesn't have many. I'll just be honest. We make it work, but she doesn't have many. But the Derby is one of hers. Her bridal shower was Kentucky Derby theme, where they wore the big hats and the sundresses. And one day I'll get her there. But I love the Derby, and I like that bet. I was doing some reading last night. I got an email from Kentucky Derby about I don't know. Can't remember the name of the race that runs the night before. It's like the Oakson or the Oaksy something. Yeah, I can't remember, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah, and Malahat or someone won that one. And so I was just doing some reading, and Highly Anticipated at 10-1 was getting a lot of play and a lot of mention. So I really like that bet. I'll probably take that as well. But y'all out there don't, because the more of us that do, the odds are going to get
so let us jump on it first, and then it might go down to 8-1, but I'd still take that bet.
Absolutely. And hey, some other fun things on the docket. I'm about to head off myself and play some golf. We're going to go see Mortal Kombat tonight. Nice. Big part of my childhood. We're ready to see that movie. So you a Mortal Kombat guy?
I played the game a little bit, but I was mainly a button masher. I never knew what was going on. So it was at friends' houses, so I played it there.
Right.
But it's still looks like a pretty good movie. So excited to see that.
Yeah, I was pretty much the same way. It wasn't allowed in my house growing up. Mortal Kombat was not allowed. But if I was ever at a friend's house, and every other friend in the world of mine had the game, and we would play, and it's just fun to see. And I watched the trailer. It actually really looks like a good movie, even if you don't know anything about the build. But That's our bets. That's our weekend. JT, anything that we missed? Anything that sticks out as problematic? I know that we typically pick winners on this show.
Yeah, I think we got some winners. We don't know. We're not going up against each other, so on any of these picks, so that's good. Usually we have
at least one,
at least one split where one of us has to lose. But I think these are some pretty good bets, and we're bringing people winners.
Oh, and the draft. Don't forget the draft. The NFL draft is still going on. We'll have rounds 3 through 7 today, and a lot of things can happen. A lot of teams can trade. There's some good things going on. I would like to jump into the NFC East and whatever the frick they're doing between the Giants or the Eagles and the Cowboys.
Yeah, we got to come back early next week sometime and just talk about everything that happened with the draft because there's a lot to talk about.
Maybe even a Sunday night recap because I'm hot about that. As a Washington football fan, I was hot, but we'll get into that later. This has been another great episode of Brewed Bets, where the coffee is strong, but the bets are stronger. Always bet responsibly. If you need help, reach out to the gambling hotlines. I believe 1-800-GAMBLING is it. If you need help, don't be afraid to reach out. Play responsibly. Enjoy the weekend. And as always, bet responsibly.